All right, now we're working on a 1966 Sheldon Dixon Magic Baseball. It's one of my favorite arcade games. This one's a little rough. Somebody cut the front coin door out, so we got a big gaping hole in the front. I don't know why they did that, but it does have the complete mannequin, which is good. Got a crazy paint scheme on it. This is not going to be a full restore to where it's going to be like collector quality or anything. We're just going to freshen it up because it's going to go into an arcade and be operated. All right, I have the cabinet pretty much broken down. So we're going to start sanding this and get the paint work going and the repairs on that coin door. And then we'll start doing the mechanics on it then. I'll follow up here when I get something else done. All right, next on the agenda, we're gonna sandblast this and get all that old funky paint off, get down to good metal and do the body work and get ready for some paint. So let's get to it. All right, just got done washing it down. So we have all the mechanics in here washed down. All the dust is out. So we're gonna let this dry and then we'll start refurbishing the inside and get the outside ready for paint. The main thing I have to do is figure out a coin mech for the front because somebody cut out the old one. It's not gonna be authentic. This is not a collector restoration. This is a functional restoration, which means we just want it to work so that we can put it in an arcade and operate it. So that's what we're gonna do. It's still gonna look nice, but it's just not gonna be factory original. All right, let's let this dry and then I'll follow up on the next stage here. Here we have the cabinet sandblasted and ready to start the body work. So I'll be moving on to the coin door here. So let me look through my parts pile and see what I have, and we'll get busy on that. Went through my parts and I found a coin door that's gonna work perfectly. So I got all the parts taken off of it. So let's get this sandblasted and get this ready for paint. There was also, it was pretty dented up. Like somebody pried the lock open. So I just hammered and dollied it, got it pretty straight. So I think we're gonna be good to go there. I'll see what it looks like when I get it in primer. I might have to do a little bit of Bondo work on it. Not a whole lot. All right, let's continue on. I now have the coin door sandblasted. So I'm just gonna put a little skim coat of Bondo on it around this lock area because it's got just a little bit of wave in it from where it was bent. So let me take care of that real quick and then we'll get this ready for primer. So we're working on the repairs here. Gonna let this set up and then we'll do some sanding and then we'll be ready for primer. I now have the bodywork sanded, so we're ready for primer. So let's get the primer mixed up and get this sprayed. Okay, we're gonna start with the primer on the back side. Okay, and here we go with the front side. Okay, we got the holes welded up in the cabinet. So there's various holes all over it. So I'm gonna start sanding those smooth and do some sanding on the cabinet, and then we have to make a coin box for inside, so or at least some kind of cradle for it. So we're going to continue on. I'll catch up when I get something else done. So I have it sandblasted, but this cabinet's made out of galvanized metal. That's why when I was welding it, it was like sparking all over the place. But the galvanizing is coming off in certain spots, and it makes a real rough finish. So I'm gonna try to sand the galvanizing off, and then we'll go with primer and sand that, and then hopefully be ready for paint. Okay, a little bit of body work and some more sanding on this cabinet, and then we're gonna start thinking about putting this in primer. All right, we're set up, ready to spray the primer. So let's get that sprayed, and then we're gonna start thinking about color. All right, we're getting the primer mixed up and getting ready to spray. So let's get to it. And here we are in primer. So we got like 4 good coats on it. We're gonna let this dry. We'll do a bunch of sanding on it, and then we'll get ready for color. All right, we're ready to do the final sanding on the cabinet, back door, and the coin door and whatnot. And hopefully this will be it, and then we can put the final primer and get it ready for paint. Okay, I got the color sprayed on it. Got to let this dry, and then we can start putting it together. Came out nice. Not a collector quality, but pretty close. I mean, just for getting it ready for an arcade. I just finished spraying the cabinet, so we're gonna let this dry, And then tomorrow we can start putting it back together. Came out nice. That's the correct color for this game. Should be like a matte black. All right, so let's get some parts on it, and that's when that black will really pop. All right, rebuilding the coin door now. So let me get these parts on and get it installed in the cabinet, and I'll show you the end result. I just got done building the coin door. It's a lot more involved than what I thought. This was a all-day job just to do this, but it came out nice. I still have the wiring harness to do, but everything came out good. So I'll probably do the wiring harness next, and then I'll update you when I get something else done. All right, we just installed the leg levelers, so it's ready to go on its feet. And let's move on to the next thing. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to work on the wiring harness for the coin door and install the coin box. So let's get started on that, and I'll follow up when I get something done there. I now have the coin box installed. So I'm going to move on to the wiring. We're going to get the harness done for the coin door here. So let's do that, and I'll be right back. Working on the coin door wiring harness, and I just got that finished. So we're ready to move on to the next thing. I'm now working on the black light. The top one here is what was in the game, and it's got a broken end to it. So I'm not going to put that one back in. I'm going to put this one in. I'm going to try to upgrade it to a better black light, because some of the black lights in these older games are barely visible. I mean, they do give a black light effect, but if you upgrade them to a better version, it makes it look a lot better. So I'm going to try to convert this one to work. It's just an old one I had laying around. It came out of an arcade game, so it's the right size. So let me try to convert that wiring over to the game, and we'll see if this upgrade is going to be worth it. I think it will be. So let me get the wiring done. We'll get it installed in the cab. It goes up underneath the hood here, so up and behind here, so it's not visible. You can see the light, but you can see the result of the light, but not the light fixture itself when it's up in there. So all right, let's continue on. Okay, we're ready to install the black light. I have it temporarily in there. It's just filled in with pop rivets. It's the way this game came from the factory, with pop rivets. So it's because there's glass in front of this, you don't want any fasteners in there. So let me it's hard to do that with one hand, but let me get it set back up here. Okay, here we go. Alright, so that's installed. There's a flap underneath. I was going to drill and maybe put another one in there, but I think that's good enough the way it is now. Alright, so that's a wrap on that. I have the wiring here that we're going to route through, and we'll get the connectors on that. So let's move on to the next thing. All right, that's gonna do it for today. So the black light is installed, and I did some wiring and got the power switch installed. So we're gonna be doing the power cord next, and I'll start grabbing parts out of the box and putting them on. So it'll probably be the kick plate will be going on and the control panel up here. So that's when you get those parts on, it's going to start to look like something. They really contrast very nicely with that black. So I'll update you when I get something else done. All right, so today we got done most of the control panel. So this is all installed and hooked up. I still got to do the air control knob, which it came with this doorknob on it, and that's not the correct one, so I'm gonna have to make something for that. And then I got the back glass in up there and ran new wiring, so I got a new power cord installed. So the electric is done. I got to move on to the play field and the scoring mechanisms that go up here. So I'll probably be working on that tomorrow in this knob here that goes there. So it's coming along. This is tedious stuff. It takes a while. This control panel was all hacked up and it had a piece of wood on top of it, and it was just time consuming to try to get that straightened out and cleaned up good enough to use it. So it looks good though, very presentable. And still waiting on some parts to do the kick plate, so I'll have that today. So I'll follow up when I get the next thing done. Okay, we're going to degrease the mannequin base plate and mannequin mechanism, but we're going to start with this here. Got to get that old grease off of there. It gets hard, turns to glue. That should do it. Okay, and here's the other half. This is the part with mannequin on it. I have it covered in plastic so it doesn't get slopped up. See here, slopped up. Still working on the control panel, and the air control on this machine had this, looks like an old antique doorknob. So I took off the correct control off of my machine, and I'm working on casting a new one, a new part. So I almost got it with this one, but there's like a pinhole in it. So I'm going to recast it, and hopefully we can get a good one, a good slug out of it, and get that control panel finished. Just finished the control panel. So I got the new knob cast out of metal. It's the exact same knob that came from the factory. I made a casting out of the one off my machine, so it works perfectly now. And that's a big step, because the mechanics that controls the air inside, so that's working really nice. Just have to make sure that the air adjustment is right once I get the game quined up. So feeling good about the progress today. I'm now working on the mannequin. I have it all washed down, and I'm drying it off now, and then I'm going to move on to restoring the bat and repainting that, because that should be a fluorescent orangish yellow, and that way it under black light it really illuminates. So that'll be the next thing I work on. All right, so I'm working on the bat for the mannequin, and I have it in primer. So we're going to let this dry, and then we're going to start the painting process. Now working on installing the kick plate. So I have that installed. We can set this up right now, and that's done. So let's move on to the next thing. And we have the game up right now, and here's the kick plate. Came out very nice. So we're making some ground. Still working on the mannequin. So that's got a good coat of primer on it. Got to let that dry, and then we're going to sand that, get it ready for paint. All right, just got back. I picked up a brand new glass for the front and brand new trim. The trim still has the protective coating on it. I haven't taken that off yet, but it's chrome. So that's going to look really nice in the game. Now working on the mannequin. So we have the body mounted, and getting ready to suit him up and get his legs back on. So let me do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, just about have the mannequin back together. I got most of it done. I'm working on the mannequin base plate right now. I stripped that to bare metal, and it's in primer. And I have the legs detailed, ready to go back on. So I just have to let this dry, do some sanding, and then we're going to get this painted. That gets painted green to match the turf. So I'll work on that, and then I'll be right back. All right, we're putting some paint on the base now. We have another coat to go, and then this will be done. So moving on. Okay, so the mannequin is done. The legs are up here. I have the mannequin base plate up there, letting the paint dry. And here's the little man. So once that dries, I can start putting him back together and get ready to put him in the game. A little slugger. So I have the play field, or the ball field down here. I got to do next, and that'll go in first. Then I can put the mannequin in. We're getting close. This one's getting close to being done, or at least the first coin up. Then there'll be a lot of troubleshooting to do. And next up, we're working on the play field. So I have it masked off. It's sanded, cleaned, and painted. So we'll let this dry, and then we'll start putting that back together and get the mannequin installed. Now working on the mannequin, getting that installed. So we have the main mech bolted in, and we're getting ready to put the play field in now. So let's get that in there and see what we got. Okay, so we have the play field installed. We still have the mannequin's legs and base plate to go in. That's what I'm going to be working on now. So let's get that installed and move on to the next thing. Okay, just finished the scoring unit, so it's ready to go back in the machine. So let's get that installed and see what we got. Okay, we have the scoring unit finished and it's installed. So getting close to first coin up and see if this thing works. Still got a lot to do. I got the back door to finish and the marquee to finish. Not a lot to do, but enough to do. Okay, I'm really curious to see if I got the mechanics working on this thing. So I'm going to coin it up because I don't have the front glass in or the ball or the backdrop or the marquee, but I don't need any of that to test the mechanics. So let's power it on. There's a power switch up here. First coin up, here we go. All right, all the lights are working. It's a good sign. Let's take a quarter and we're gonna drop it in and see if it resets. All right, the mannequin reset, the scoring all set to 0. The game over light is off. The mannequin reset. I don't know if the airflow is working correctly because I don't have a ball in it, but let's try a swing. I'm gonna push a button. Okay. Get 9 swings. Okay, last swing, the game should shut off and the game over light should come on. Last swing, here we go. That's it. Woohoo! Oh man, I'm excited about that. So let's move on and get the rest of it finished. Okay, I now have a ball in it. We're gonna test the blower motor to make sure that that's aligned properly so the airflow is correct. The blower is blowing. I just didn't know without a ball in it, you know, what the level, the height of the ball is with the controls and everything. So let's point it up. All right, there's the ball. Now when I turn it counterclockwise, it should raise it up in front of the bat, which it does. Let it go, it drops back down. So that's another good thing. We're good to go there. The only thing I did notice that the home runs switch is not working. Let me drop it. Comes back out. No home run. So let me work on that. I'll be right back. Okay, did some work to the home run switch and looks like we have success. So let me drop a ball in the hole and it should give me a score. Good. Let's do another. Good. All right. It's another fix done. Let me swing this out to finish the game. Okay, last swing. All right, pretty happy so far. So let's move on to the next thing. I think I want to put the glass in for now, and then I'll work on the back door. I want the glass in just to keep the dust out now that I got the play field and everything in it. So let's do that, and I'll be back. All right, just finished installing the front glass. There is some instructions I gotta install, but that's in for now, and gonna move on to the back door. Okay, now starting the back door. So we're gonna get this prepped and get it ready to install, and that'll complete the interior of the game. And then other than that, I just have the marquee to make, and then this game is done. And I now have the back door installed. So the home run fence, back door. Until I turn the lights on the game, you probably won't be able to see it. Yeah, let me turn the lights on, I'll be right back. All right, that should be a little better. Still a lot of reflection, but she's ready to rock and roll. I just have the marquee to do. So let's get busy on that. Okay, we're now making the missing marquee. So let's get this cut out, and then we'll get the tabs welded on and get it ready for paint. Okay, I have the marquee cut out. Let me start to do some sanding on this, and we'll get the L brackets made and get ready to weld those on there. So I'll be right back. Okay, so we have the marquee cut, and we're gonna put the curve in it. So it's flat right now, we want it to curve around the top, so let's get that started. All right, there we go. That's the arc we want. So let's start to get some paint on this, and we'll get it ready for the artwork. So we'll get some paint on it and get some artwork on it. I'll catch back up when I get something else done. All right, test fitting the marquee, and it's looking good. Once I get the brackets on it and get it screwed in, it'll be perfect. So let's get that thing washed down, and let's get it in primer. All right, I was able to get it in primer, so we'll let that dry, do some sanding, cleaning, and we'll get some color on it. So I'll follow up when I get that done. Okay, it's the next day here. We have this sanded and cleaned, and we're getting some paint on it. So let me get the color on it. We'll let that dry, and while it's drying, I'll work on the artwork. Okay, so the paint is cured, getting ready to apply the artwork. So got a lot of measuring to do, and then we'll get this artwork applied. It gets some big font lettering in the middle. It says Magic Baseball. Then it gets a baseball on either side, and then on the either side of the baseball, it gets a small font, small print of Magic Baseball. So let's get to it. All right, I just finished the artwork on the marquee. So we're gonna let that dry. These are water slide decals, and we'll put a seal coat over top of that just to protect them. So I'm gonna move on to the front glass instructions. So I got the front glass off, and there's instructions that go on the bottom here, so for the controls. So let me work on that, I'll be right back. All right, I'm now working on the instructions on the front glass. Got it halfway there, so let's get the art on it, and then we'll let this dry, and that'll be done. Okay, I have the art on the front glass. So we're gonna let that dry and then install it, and we'll be done with that. In the once I get the marquee finished, the game is done. So we're looking good here. Okay, so here we have the finished game. Like I mentioned earlier, this is not a full restoration. This is just a cosmetic refurbish because it's going back in operation. It's going in an arcade today. I will show the delivery and show you the arcade it's going in. Should be interesting to have a electromechanical EM arcade to still be operated in today's market. So I think this is going to draw a lot of attention. It's just so different. Anybody can play it, from kids to adults. So let me get some video of it. There's the marquee installed. There's your kick plate, brand new kick plate. Control panel. If this was a Forest store, I'd probably make a brand new control panel. Let me, can't really see the inside, so let me turn it on. And if it was a newer store, I'd probably do a new outfit on the player, on the mannequin. It's got a couple stains in it, but it's very presentable. And I would have done a brand new play field, but in a backdrop home run felt. All right, so let me take a little video here, and then we'll get some gameplay. So the gameplay is, this is set up for a quarter. Normally the game would be 10 cents from back in the day when it was made, but it's going in an arcade, so they're doing a quarter on it. So you put a quarter in it, and it'll coin up, the man will reset, ball will come out, and then you adjust the ball height with this knob by turning it counterclockwise. And then you control the bat with this button. You push that button and the mannequin swings. And there's a fence where it says home run. There's a black fence below it. You have to hit it over that fence and it will score a run. These are your runs and these are your swings. So you get 9 swings and the game's over. The record, the one in my arcade and this one, I actually set the record on this one. My father-in-law did the one in my game room. The record is 5, which is pretty good. If you can get 5 home runs on this game, you're doing all right. So there she is. Let's get it delivered, and we'll catch up when we get to the arcade. Okay, let's get some gameplay. Let's drop a quarter in it and get her fired up.